So now we move into another dimension altogether, and we're going to go and look at hexagram number 61. In the human design chart, we've been in the root center for a little bit, we've been in the sacral center for a little bit, and now we're right up in the crown center, right in the top in the middle. And inner truth, two words to it. Truth is something that's universal. Inner truth is when you get to know it. And there has to be this understanding in life that the world is full of knowledge. There's no shortage of knowledge. There's no shortage of information. We can be informed from all kinds of different places and sources. These days, we're all carrying around little computers in our hand that can Google stuff in an instant. But there's a difference between knowledge and knowing. And the word truth is used very liberally. Oh, I'm being truthful, well, yes, it's subjective in that regard. But truth is universal, but the actual knowing of it is completely personal. And even though people have tried for eons to express truth in language, it doesn't work. Truth is a knowing. It's not something that can be relayed in words. We can say we're being truthful. People can demand of us to tell the truth. And for a situation, we can describe circumstances. But the 61 is very different in this regard. So at this point in time, the sun has the backdrop of this part of the sky behind it that we associate with the 61st hexagram. And we're still in Capricorn. We're still in the last little bit of the astrological sign of Capricorn. We've got the bottom trigram is solid, solid, broken. And then the top trigram is broken, solid, solid. So we have this kind of yin space in the middle of it with yang lines, two of them each on either side. So there's this sort of pocket in the middle, this pocket of knowing. And that's the description for this particular hexagram. As I say, it's right up in the crown center, in the top side, in the middle there. And the potential on the other end of it there is gateway number 24. We haven't looked at that one yet, but the 24 is the gateway. I'm going to say it's the gateway of deep thought, assimilation. It has this extraordinary job of trying to interpret truth in a way that can be relayed into the world. And it is a job. And people with that channel, the 6124, they can find themselves constantly thinking. And there's been periods of time in these last years when Pluto has been in the 61 by transit and Uranus has been in the 24 by transit. And so a long time, part of the circumstances of it was the COVID infection took over the world and everyone had their lives changed. That a lot of the old ways we used to do stuff kind of got eradicated and we were exposed to a new level of truth, courtesy of Pluto. And Uranus together, like showing us how to interpret things or live our lives in very, very different ways. So the channel of 6124 is that channel of trying to interpret truth into a way that can be comprehended with the mind. And it's kind of an uphill job in a sense, but it doesn't stop people with the channel 6124 coming to some very profound appreciations of life. You really want to find out about something, you really want to get to the absolute bottom part of it, ask somebody that's got that channel of 6124. Give them a little bit of time, because it's a mind process that goes round and round and round, refining on answers that come back. But you'll get something as close to the truth as can be expressed through that particular channel. But I say it's close. Here we have in the wheel, we're in the top left-hand corner there of the wheel, and the 24 in the bottom left-hand corner down there. And the 24 is the last of the hexagrams that has a yang solid line at the bottom of it. And right after it is hexagram number 2, where the whole arena of receptivity opens up. So these are two hexagrams, the 61 and the 24. They both have that solid yang creative push at the bottom of them. We want to work it out here. We want to find out what life is. And so here we are, inner truth It's sincerity, mystery, or we could break that word up and say, my story. Your innermost sincerity compels you towards what you know to be true. It's just in there. And you'll find if you've got the 61 in your design, you do not put up with people that tell lies. You can see right through it. It's like, don't tell me this stuff. I'm not interested. For children and stuff, it can be really awkward, because, parents are trying to tell, we need you to do this and do that. And they pick it up right away. There's something not right about what I'm being told here. I call it, inner truth, I also call it the BS meter. It picks up on things that are just not right. And that's how it is. So, yeah, sincerity, mystery, my story. My story is a mystery. You'll know when you look into your life, it's a mystery. How does this thing work? How is this thing happening with me? What's going on here? What's it all about? So we have a look at the commentary here. And the 61 is a pressure. It comes out of the crown center, which in human design we see as a pressure center. That's the pressure to know. I want to know. I want to know what's going on here. Don't tell me some stuff. I want to know. It is the eventual realization that your thoughts can lead you to a glimpse of truth, but cannot maintain a hold on it. It's almost like you can listen to somebody. You can listen to a guided meditation, if you will. And the voice or the music or whatever it is, it's taking you to a certain point. It's like taking you right along to a certain line of perception. And then in that moment, you can drop into the truth. You can have that deep, profound realization inside yourself. All right? The meditation, the guided meditation is taking you to that possibility, but it has to leave you there in silence. And in that silence, you drop into yourself and you drop into that realization. And you get that glimpse of truth. That's Satori. But the bottom line with the 61 is truth happens in a silent mind. It's the gap between the words. It's the gap between the notes. That's where it is. And all of a sudden you know. And the moment you start thinking about it, it's gone. So can you stay in that space? And meditation will take you to that space. Practice it more and more and more, and you'll find more you can extend that space of knowing. What are you knowing? You're just knowing the truth. You're having that profound inner experience. And it's a most extraordinary thing when it happens. Let's have a look at the lines. 61 with the first line, the foundation of inner truth is being able to read stuff, be able to engage or associate with that truth. We say about the first line, it can be very physical. It's really hands-on. It's really involved and engaged. It really wants to go in there. And the first line with the 61, having perception. It can go right into stuff. It can read right into things. Most people I know with the 61 with the first line, they have an edge of psychic abilities. They just have that quality. And it says quietly allowing your psychic attunement. Acknowledge that. Now, it's one thing to have that attunement. It's one thing to be able to see that stuff. It's another to be able to tell it without freaking people out. How do you know to tell me that? Why are you telling me this? I don't want to know this stuff, right? You have to be really, really clear about that. Yeah, I can read the tea leaves. I can read all kinds of stuff with the 61 with the first line. But there comes that point in time. Is this something that can be relayed into somebody's life that's going to bring them benefit? You have the means to probe deeply into some of the profound inner workings of life. That is the 61. You can go right into things, read right through people's lives, situations. You can tell where they're going. You can look at somebody, you can see them in their babyhood, their childhood, their middle life, and their last days. You can see that whole thing. Can you give that in some way that's going to bring a quality into somebody's life? So Neptune here, your mystical nature is attuned to be able to align many cosmic and earthly realities, right? We are cosmic spiritual beings. Are we from this planet? We're certainly living here in this time. Who knows where we came from, where this consciousness of ours came from? But here it is, this first line. You can start melding these things together, other realities. And here Venus says, if you're too keen to align with esoteric realms, you may lose touch with your everyday realities. When I first started reading for people, quite a while ago, I used to go to psychic fairs, and I'd sit there in psychic fairs, reading for people, telling them what I could see about them. And people used to really enjoy the readings. I had a lot of fun with it. And of course, in a psychic fair like that, there would be a lot of people that were just pure psychics. And they could give extraordinary information to people, really interesting things, beneficial things, helpful things. But when I asked them about their own lives weren't working. All their energy was going into assisting other people, and themselves, their life was a chaos. And so that's what this first line is saying with the Venus side of it, is it's very easy to overemphasize the ability to see into other things and actually lose touch with the physical reality, with the practical life. The second line here, shining light, finding the thread of truth in anything. Right? Second lines just have that gift. They're genius, they're brilliant, they're capable of seeing things. And they can find the thread of truth in anything. They just look right into something and there it is. Everything, certainly in nature, carries the truth because it has that frequency. You either have the inner development to contain your compelling inspirations or not. And there it is. What do you do with this ability to see things, to tune into what is truthful, what is vibrationally right in this world, and what is out of tune? The moon's energy here, you have the gift to inspire others through an attunement to your own clear well-being. Right? Look to yourself first, be happy in yourself, make sure your own life is working well first. And then you can see you have this gift to inspire other people. Right? But it's just like I was saying, make sure you got your own trip together. Then. And you can see the whole world is turned around. So many people, all their energy goes out into assisting other people, supposedly. But it's not based on anything substantial in their own world. The Mars energy here, you know that you shine brightly, but have difficulty in handling others' recognition of that. You kind of shy away. I don't really want to engage. It's like it's too much. I can see too much. I'm just going to shut it down. And a lot of children get shut down. They have these abilities, and people say, look, don't tell us these things. Just be normal. Just fit in. And of course, they're seeing all these other things. Psychic abilities have to be expanded and trusted and recognized, but they also have to be grounded in something substantial too. The third line. Third line, always seeking to be the first one in, to make the connection that nobody else can make, and to try things out, the experimenter, the pioneer. And what the third line says here is remaining inner dependent. Not interdependent, inner dependent. Staying true in your own life. And when we're saying that in human design terms, we're saying, for goodness sake, get really clear about your own type and authority. How does the energy move in you? How do you make decisions about stuff? The 61 is full of bright, shiny objects, all kinds of exciting things we could go chasing after. Esoteric experiences. And the whole thing with esoteric experiences and psychic gifts is, one leads to the next, to the next, to the next. And it's about enjoying these things and not getting stuck with them. The whole life depends on these things. And so this third line is saying, really, remain independent, inner dependent. Trust in yourself first. Then you trust yourself in all interactions while also acknowledging how easily you're affected by others. Absolutely. Psychic abilities, when you're reading somebody else, is it them or is it me? What am I picking up here? You attune to all relationships that allow your truth and inspirations to flourish. Right? Just that's the natural thing. That's the natural inner dependent attuning to what it is that really resonates with you. That's what life is all about, is who and what resonates with me. and who doesn't, and what doesn't. Whatever your type of authority is, it's all about the frequency matches. And the third line, reading a situation rightly, can see, I have an association here, I have a connection here, there's a vibrational match. So I get involved. The other side of it with Mars, it is easy for others to misunderstand you, and you often find that you become estranged. For a third line, this is always awkward. There's always that thing of commitment. Who am I involved with, who not? And because the third line with a 61 can see things that other people can't see and might relate to them, and everyone will say, oh, you're too strange, you're too weird. You know, we have to carry on doing normal stuff. We can't get involved with you. It's too far out there. The fourth line, holding higher truth. Right? Inner truth is inner truth, and that's that. Does anyone else get it at the same time? Highly unlikely. You know, it's a very deeply personal experience. But the fourth line says, for goodness sake, trust in your own achievement or your own appreciation of what it is that life is informing you about. Following your clarity to find resonant truth in others. Every now and again, you find somebody else. They got it. Not everybody, but they got it. And the fourth line is very ready to kind of bring people together that are in the same attunement. You seek the truth in any situation, whether you are inspired from within or from other people. Right? There's nothing like having that resonant truth inside yourself. All of a sudden, you get it. But it also, you can be inspired by other people saying, yeah, this person also has something they can really make resonant for me. They can lead me to that edge where I drop into that appreciation of the truth. And here with Saturn, your disciplined nature holds you in your process until truth is revealed, regardless. Right? Just stay with it. The truth is here. The truth has always been here. It's universal. The whole thing is, how far away from it have I been steered in my life? How much have I been told about things that are really not truthful, and I've trusted them? What's it going to take for me to come back to recognize the resonance in the truth? The other side of it here with Jupiter, any attempt to seek truth outside of yourself will result in you becoming disillusioned. And there it is. You buy into a religion or a particular doctrine or something or other, and you say this is the only thing that's possible. And there's that whole thing of, losing what it is that's actually resonant for you. I'm not saying spiritual disciplines are not helpful. I'm saying meditation is extraordinarily helpful because it's you and you. But it's so easy to chase after something. And my sense is we've all done this for lifetimes on end, chasing after things that don't take us where we need to go. It's just in these days, the light's on. We're coming out of the dark ages at high speed and the light is on. And it's really an important thing. We're moving into this age of the empowered individual. We're moving out of this age of giving our trust and belief and everything to everybody else. The scriptures and the treatises and the history books. We're moving away from that stuff. We're coming into our own personal, present reality. And 61 is a great, great thing to recognize. Truth is within. So we get to the fifth line here, and the line is called being ingenious. Fifth line people can have this extraordinary ability to just point out what for them is obvious, but for the rest of us, it's like, how'd you go at that out? They can see over the top of things. They can see potential solutions in things. And the whole thing is, how do they relay that to people? How do they relay the truth to people? And here it is, uniting everyone by interpreting truth innovatively. Right? The world is full of Bibles and Bhagavad Gitas and Qurans and all kinds of amazing Dhammapadas, incredible tomes. Stories about people that got it. They had the truth revealed to them. And they, as much as possible, lived a life that was in accord with that truth. And they tried to relay that truth into the world. And yes, innovatively doing that. There are some extraordinary stories, Zen stories, Christian stories, Buddhist stories, Hindu stories, all kinds of stories that kind of give an influence of how truth can be approached and achieved. And so the fifth line has that thing of being ingenious. Let's steer the story this way. Let's hold it out in this way so that people can get to that place where they can have the experience of dropping into their own appreciation of truth. Abiding by your principles, you impart truth to others, whether they accept it easily or not. The fifth line has often been called the heretical line. They get stoned for their troubles. They're putting out something and nobody likes it. The vested interest, hey, you're going against what we're doing here. But you're going to get to see in the world, there's a lot of transformation going on in the world at the moment. Despots, the ones that are holding hard party lines, we can only do it like this, they're in trouble. They're holding things too hard, and they're using power to hold things down, and the truth becomes evident. They say about Russia, or at least the Soviet Union, that the breakdown of the Soviet Union was coincident with a time where 30% of the population had access to a telephone. All of a sudden, communication could happen and say, we're not putting up with this stuff anymore. Yeah? And sure enough, the whole thing falls apart. Who knows how much of an influence that was, but it would appear that in the world, the rate of communication that goes out in all these different ways, these ways of communicating with people, getting around the vested interests, getting around the dictatorships in ways that people can communicate and actually find out what it is that's going on here. And this is very much this thing of the fifth line here, of putting the truth out in a way that people can access it. With Saturn's energy, your discipline and ingenuity to know the truth is unaffected if others embrace you or not. Right? You put out the truth. I don't care. People can throw stones at me. They can poo-poo everything I'm saying. So what? I'm standing in my truth. I'm relaying it in the best and most ingenious way I can find. And here with Mars energy, you insist on being accepted for your stance in life and your interpretations of truth. You become the head of an order, or you become the head of a monastery or a mega church or something or other, and that's it. Everyone has to toe the line, whether it takes them to the truth or not. Truth can be manipulated. We're all aware of that. I mean, television is brilliant at that stuff, and so is a lot of social media things. A lot of people put a lot of energy into disinformation and taking people away from the truth. But when people find the truth and they recognize the truth, they'll do anything to maintain it. The sixth line here being insightful. Universal expressions of truth are not always recognized. And there it is. The sixth line is always seeing, this is obviously the truth. How do I get it to be? How do people get to see they need to up-level their life? They need to get out of the ruts and the dictates and the creeds and stuff that everyone's given them. They need to establish and find their own truth. Expressing your truth through personal experiences can inspire others practically or not. Best you can do, put it out there. See if people get it or not. See if people want to change their ways. The Pluto energy here, sincerely adapting your truth as a tangible reality, has great effect on others. How do you illustrate the truth? How do you make it practical? How do you show people how to find their own way to the truth? And ultimately, the end is through meditation, through, as I say, it's you with you. Finding out what makes the clock tick inside. And, it's just that profound thing. Sincerely adapting your truth as a tangible reality, right? That's how to relay truth. Tangible reality. People can recognize the truth. They can see people that live in truth, live in integrity. The Mars energy here, you alienate others by pushing them to adopt your impractical grasp of truth. It's all, it's pie in the sky, it's love and bliss, and it's so wonderful, and hallelujah. And yeah, all that stuff's great, but, is it taking people out of themselves, or is it taking people into themselves to have that inner experience of truth? So much to consider around this 61st hexagram. It's very, very powerful, and it can bring about an extraordinary growth in our life, like massive jumps of consciousness when we have those satori's, we have those insights that come to us, and all of a sudden everything's different. But truth is something that goes beyond the mind. It happens to us in